All right, welcome back to the SBD Odds Pod. I'm Frank Smith here with Matt McEwan. Matt, how you doing today?
Hey Frank, I'm doing well. How you doing?
Not too bad, Hit some bets, missed some bets in week 16. I gotta say I'm happy we have one more week. I can try and get things straight again, but we got a lot to talk about, man. Where do you want to start?
Hey, let's start with week 16, which again, I mean, another pretty wild week. At this point, anytime the Jets win, it seems like it's a wild week, right?
That one hurt. For anyone who listened to the first podcast we had, you'll see it on our feed on the RSS there. I was all about the Browns. I really liked them. And then all of a sudden they have no receivers. I even think I talked about them when we were talking about which bets do you want to lock in. That was the last one you wanted to have locked in because I'm stuck with them now. And I think I actually had the opportunity to cash it out. And I was like, no, I think it'll still win. Then the next thing you know, what are they doing? Throwing like reverse pass touchdowns. That was a tough one to swallow.
I appreciate you saying you suggested it, Frank. That was actually my bet of the week, and I think I
That
talked you into it.
was.
That was my bet of the week. I loved Cleveland. I loved Cleveland minus 9.5 last week. And I'll be honest with you, I bet them again. When this line went down to 6.5, there is no
Oh,
reason
no.
that Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt should not have run all over this Jets defense. And I bet it again at 6.5. I was that confident still after all their receivers were ruled out. And man, that did not go well for me.
How about all the people that probably had them in a survivor pool at the end of the season, just getting crushed
well,
on that?
that's those who were left after having the Rams in week 15, right?
Yeah,
I don't know
it
if
was probably to win the pool. A lot of people were probably
yeah,
relying on them like there's the last couple people. That hurts. That hurts really bad. I did not see them winning another game, but here we
no.
are. There's a and it makes this week really weird. I was looking at the board this week, and it's hard to pick. Which games are actually going to matter, which teams are really going to try, and it's fuzzy for a couple of these teams. I one of my picks last week, and a little bit of recap here. I did have the Steelers. They really made me sweat on that. And now it's in a weird position where it's like, okay, well, there is something to play for, but are they willing to do it? They're not. Maybe Buffalo is. What are you thinking?
So, and this is very very important points here, Frank, on week 17, because this ultimately this is the most, I think it's the most critical part of trying to bet week 17. There are 3 weeks that generally are I find to be the toughest weeks of the season to bet, and that's weeks 1, 2, and 17. One, obviously, you don't know what to expect, right? You don't know how much each team has changed, how much you can rely on what you saw last year. Week 2, you have kind of the overreactions to whatever you saw week 1, right? Week 17, yeah, like you said, it's who's playing, which team who's out of it is more motivated than the other, which team's resting players. And with this being so important, over at SBD, we do put out a post. We did this last year. We're going to do it again Friday. It'll be just basically every situation to watch for, which teams have something to play for, which don't, and then which teams are resting starters, significant players that are potentially not going to play the entire game. So you'll catch that entire report there, at sportsbettingdime.com. But yeah, I'm with you. It's a really tough one to decipher. And
I'm
I've got
getting
some
a bit
notes on
ahead
that.
of myself here, though. Let's we have some more on that. Let's go back to
We
week
have
16 for
more.
a second. Well, I'm just getting a little bit excited. So I want to talk about a bad beat here. We're going to do our first award, the bad beat award. I have a little half one here for you. Did you catch any college football?
A little bit, yeah. I caught a little bit, not too much. I was, with the holidays, a little focused in on NFL, but yeah, lay it on me, Frank. What do you got?
So this situation came up in the NFL and in college football. Coastal Carolina undefeated playing Liberty. They have an opportunity to head into the end zone, seal the game, probably like a 99.9% chance of sealing the game. And they don't. Instead of taking a knee or going into the end zone, they run the ball and it gets stripped at the 1 yard line. Game goes into overtime. Now, we saw the same thing with the Raiders.
Yes.
Fortunately for my sanity, I didn't have either of these teams, but that's about as bad as a beat as it can get, especially for a team that ended up losing like the Raiders. Liberty ended up winning that game in overtime. Anyone who had the Raiders, I'm really sorry. It's a funeral this week. You might have to hang it up after that. That was disgusting.
So that's actually a great one, Frank. I wanted to talk about that one, not just though the fact that the Raiders did that and lost. I'm focused here on I thought the worst beat in that game was the over under. This this total went over thanks to that final field goal. So here was the thing. Like this was a roller coaster last few minutes. I mean, the under bettors on that game were laughing heading into the fourth quarter. You were kicking your feet up, stoking up the cigar. Like you were ready. And then all of a sudden, all these points start getting scored. Then you have that Josh Jacobs play where he does not score. He goes down at the inches shy of the end zone.
They had
And
several
you're ecstatic.
chances.
Absolutely. And because that touchdown would have pushed that total over. That touchdown would have ruined your bet. He goes down. They settle for the field goal. And what happens? Like, at that point, you had to be feeling really good about yourself. You just avoided disaster.
You're laughing.
And then what happens? And then what happens? And then you get the Fitzpatrick face mask twist throw to the sideline, and the field goal pushes it over anyways. Like that was, to me, I think the worst beat of the week. Just awful. I've got one more that I did just want to throw out there too. And
hit me with
I don't know if you caught this one, Frank. The Tampa Bay Detroit game. So again, I'm sticking with the total here. Total was 55 in this game, and we had 54 points scored with still 22 minutes remaining in the game. And I'm not talking 22 minutes of watching time. I'm talking 22 minutes of game time left. And what happens? Tampa Bay gives Brady the rest. Detroit can't score. There are no points scored in the final 22 minutes of this game. That one hurt. I don't know how
that'll make you sick.
How you swallow that one.
That's disgusting as well. Those are really bad. I didn't even think about the total. I was just so focused on the Raiders winning that game. But you're right. That's even worse. And it was even more of a tease.
Yeah.
Best W this week. My best W is by far the Ravens. I was really, really heavy on them.
You loved them. That was a great pick.
You loved them too. And we both said we would bet it up to 2 touchdowns. And I think they ended up winning by how many? Like 15? Something really close to that.
They covered.
They covered. It was only,
and they covered your hypothetical too. So your advice was perfect there.
Yeah. So I mean, they did make me sweat for a second there. They got to a hot start and kind of cooled off, but that's what the Ravens do. The prediction was right. They beat up on bad teams. They did it early and often. Who'd you have? Best W.
I had 2 pretty good wins this week. Cowboys money line. I got this one from my my score predicting formula. It was all over the Cowboys to beat the Eagles. So plus 150. That's a pretty nice win. The other one, Ryan Tannehill, anytime touchdown. This was a terrible line against a bad Packers run defense. I got plus 350 on Tannehill anytime touchdown. Now, hey, I know, Derrick Henry is the goal line back and he scores most of the touchdowns, but I mean, how many times have we seen the little read option Tannehill keeps and scampers into the end zone from 1 yard away, right? I mean, this time he went a little longer than 1 yard on this one, but plus 350. That was a really bad line. That was my win of the week.
He had wheels on that play. I did not see that coming. That's a good one. Those are both good ones. I actually sprinkled a little live bet on the Cowboys, so I got in some of the action too. All right. Disappointment. I have to say my disappointment reward is the Rams. I really thought they were going to at least show some life in that game. They did for about 2 drives in the first quarter. Jared Goff, whoever saw that game, he was throwing darts. He didn't look like he had a fractured thumb or hand or it's his thumb, right? He looked healthy. He looked perfectly fine. He was slinging. And then they just went completely dead. I don't know.
This
I
was the
really
other
thought
one I talked you into, Frank, and I think I just owe you an apology. Both of my bets last week
I was so
go
hot on it.
belly up, and
I said on the podcast, I was like, I am completely sold. I'm going to put these in right after, and I was true to my word. I threw them in right after. Um, yeah, man, I've been on the Rams all season long, and last week was bad. It was just bad. They had no life.
no,
They don't look like a team that's going to be making any noise in the playoff team. I thought that defense was going to be able to carry them, and they were going to, be one of those teams that wins by their defense. And it was just, it was all Russell Wilson in that second half. It was ugly. Who do you got?
yeah. We kind of talked about it already. For me, it was the Browns. I mean, I doubled down on this one after getting the bad news of no wide receivers. I still felt that good about the Browns at now 6.5. Under a touchdown. This is the Jets we're talking about here. This is the New York Jets who just won their first game.
To be fair, Matt, that didn't really seem like the problem. That wasn't why they lost. It had nothing to do with the wide receivers.
No,
the Browns defense didn't show up. I mean, at no point in the season has the Jets had life like that.
No. So I mean, Darnold looked good. Like Darnold all of a sudden resurrected the hope that that he can be saved. And all of a sudden, I mean, don't get me wrong here. The Jets cannot bring Adam Gase back, but all of a sudden you're looking at like what happened here? What happened in the last 2 weeks that all of a sudden the Jets look like a competitive team? Because prior to this, there weren't a ton of competitive games this year. It's not like the Jets were losing Charger like games, bad decisions, anything like that. They were getting blown out a lot.
It's a head scratcher. I can't figure it out. I do know that from all accounts, these players, they have no interest in tanking. The only people that have any significant interest in tanking is the front office. And even the general managers, it's a tough decision to tank. So it's pretty much just the owner. That's the only one who really would want it because everyone else can lose their job. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand it, but I'm happy it's going to be over soon. Let's talk about week 17. Jumping on, you know what? I said this last week. I reward teams that win bets for me. I'm going with the Ravens again. Right now, they're minus 11.5. And I just want to give a general thought about week 17. Every single game is a divisional game. Have I been missing this point my entire NFL watching life? Or is this something that happens in every week 17? I couldn't believe it when I was looking at the games.
I don't think it's happened every week 17. Not that I can recall, but I think the last 2 to 3 years now, they've really tried to stack week 17 with divisional matchups so that, whatever divisional battles are on the line, those games become even more significant, right? Like that's what they've tried to do the last few years, but I don't think it goes back much longer than a couple years here.
I must have missed it the last couple of years because I was like, how did this happen? Is this a coincidence? It can't be, but it does make sense. It's fun. I like it this way. I got the Giants. I would do the same thing as last week. I'm going to bet them up to 2 touchdowns. I'm jumping on it right now at 11.5. And I wouldn't want to play this team come playoff time. This is a team I don't want to see. They look like they're hot right now. They look like they figured things out. This is who we expect them to be before the season. It's scary right now, especially for me as a Pittsburgh fan and a potential matchup.
Yeah, Lamar's, starting to look right again. That offense is rolling again. I'm with you. Now I will say act quickly on this one. Ravens minus 11.5 because I've actually seen it up to 13 at some books. So make sure you strike quickly on this one. One other line, actually, I just want to point out that we missed, early in the week. The Raiders opened up as 2.5 point dogs in Denver. This line has already swung 5 points. We're now looking at Raiders minus 2.5. That's a huge swing, especially this early. I mean, we're recording this. You know what? I think this was one where the books said, okay, Vegas is done, right? That loss to Miami ended their season. And I think this was just a matter of sportsbooks not really paying enough attention. I think the public quickly remembered, hey, what happened the last time these two teams played? And I'm saying this as a Broncos fan. I don't. They haven't stood up well to the Raiders the last few years. This was just a bad opening line. This is one of those times where the book didn't pay enough attention off the start, set a bad line. And I mean, they obviously paid for it early because, to swing that 5 points this quickly, we're recording this on Wednesday here. So we're looking at like a, 48-hour period here where this line has just moved dramatically. So that's one we've missed.
I can't remember the last time I saw something like that.
Not this quickly, and without like that's the thing without any sort of major player news. That it's not like the Broncos are turning back to Hinton at quarterback or anything.
Oh, they should. Electric.
I wouldn't be that opposed to it. But no, it's crazy. The other one that I'm jumping on right now because I think it's going to grow quickly. Books were hesitant to open up the Bills Dolphins line. Again, you mentioned it already. The Bills have something to play for. Is that 2 seed worth it? Is kind of the question that everybody's waiting to find out. Josh Allen's made some comments and there have been some comments out of Bills camp that suggest they are going for it. They want that 2 seed. And I get it. I think it is significant, to have that game, that potential divisional round game against Pittsburgh at home, I think is a big advantage. I know there's no fans, anything like that. You're not getting that type of home field advantage, but just not having to travel, not having to go into, onto a foreign field, I think it does matter. And right now this line is open Buffalo -1. I'm all over this. I personally thought this would open like 3.5, 4, even upwards of 5. I think this line is going to grow quickly. The Bills look for real. Josh Allen has been one of the most exciting players this season. I think they continue to roll. I don't think this is I don't think anything's going to change where the Bills decide we're not going after the 2 seed. And what we've seen from Miami with 2 under center, it hasn't been that impressive. He's checking the ball down a lot. He's making a lot of.
Is he even going to play?
Well, right now Miami said Tua will start, and they've kind of made the comment that we'll turn to our relief quarterback, in the 9th inning if need be. I think if they wait until the 9th inning, that's going to be a little too late. I think
that's got to drive Fitzpatrick crazy. Can you imagine that? He pulls off that incredible win, keeps him alive in the playoffs, and then they're not going to start in the next week. I mean, that's ridiculous. This guy should be pissed.
He should be. And you know what? I understand why Miami feels the need to do this. I mean, look at what they have right now. Right now they sit with the 3rd overall pick in the 2021 draft because of that trade with Houston. So they have Houston's first round pick, and right now that is the 3rd overall pick. So I understand that management, coaching staff is saying right now we need to figure out if Tua is the guy, and you have to give him every opportunity to prove himself wrong, basically. Play himself out of the job. And I understand that because if he's not the guy, you have a very good defense right now, and your window is now, basically. Like your window's just opening. You need that quarterback, and hey, someone like Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, good chance they're there at number 3. If not, hey, if Tua proves to be the guy, you can spend that maybe on Sewell, the tackle from Oregon there, who looks very good. But I get it. But I also, like you said, Fitzpatrick's got to be angry about this.
I mean, this is a crazy new trend in the NFL. I mean, I get that.
Relief quarterbacks?
Well, first of all, relief quarterbacks. And then second of all, the whole Rosen thing where you take a guy and then you take a guy the next year. I would be shocked if the Dolphins did that. Tua has looked so much better than Rosen. It's hard to compare the two. But they're just clearly better with Fitzpatrick. They should definitely be starting him. I don't understand.
He's their best chance to win this game, and he's their best chance at making any sort of run in the playoffs.
Let's jump to trends. I got a little tasty one right here. Another reward pick. Dallas has a meaningful game versus the Giants. I mean, the Giants are 5-10 and not eliminated. I mean, it's pretty incredible. I can't remember the last time I saw that either. This game is, I mean, a pretty close matchup. The trend I have is Dallas is 5-0 straight up in their last five versus the Giants.
Nice.
I like that to continue. What's the line you get on that right now? I think
I'm
mine
at
might be
3, and
updated.
I jumped on that one as well. I like Dallas -3 here.
I love it. I wouldn't even worry about doing the money line. Just lay the 3. I think I'm going to put that in right after this podcast ends.
I've already
What
got
do
it
you
in.
got? You've already got it.
I've already got that one, and I figured this line would grow beyond 3, so I wanted to get it now. My trend here, again, I'm not sticking with one team here, but week 17, like you said, Frank, this is a tough one, and a lot of the time, I think people just go off the narrative of, hey, this team has more to play for, so and you side with that team. I'm here to say that don't fall into this trap. Every team is playing for something in week 17. Like you said, Frank, I mean, all these players have jobs to play for, right? Nothing's guaranteed in the NFL. So, I mean, if a bad performance week 17, and who knows what next year holds for them, right? Everybody's playing for a job. Coaching staffs are playing for or coaching for their jobs. You cannot just say, hey, because this team, because the Bears are playing for their playoff lives, they're the bet. Just as you can't say the same thing with any of these favorites either. So my trend here is that last week 17, 2019 week 17, 5 underdogs, 1 straight up. And over the last 5 seasons, week 17, just looking at week 17, underdogs of 7.5 or more points are 16-12 against the spread. So what I'm saying here is don't take anything for granted in week 17. You got to still handicap these games, properly, do your work, do your research. And again, hey, SBD does a lot of this stuff for you. Head over there. You can see it all there, whatever you need, whatever stats you want. We have
That's
it.
sportsbettingdime.com.
But do not fall into this trap of, Seattle's playing for, the better seeding. So, and San Francisco's done. Seattle has something to play for. San Francisco doesn't. So I'm just going to, blindly bet Seattle. Do not fall into that trend. And I will discuss that one specifically in a little bit here when we start talking a little more week 17.
I love that trend. That's really interesting, and it does talk. It speaks to what we talked about earlier about how the players, they want to win these games. It's embarrassing. So,
Yeah.
especially if having a terrible season, like a lot of people might think, oh, the Jaguars are done. No, those guys want to win the game. Of course,
they're playing hard. They're gonna play hard. Absolutely,
they're gonna play hard. I'm not gonna take them, but they're gonna play hard.
And football's just too, I mean, it's too much of a dangerous sport too. Like that's the other part here is that if you're on the field and you're not going 100%, like you're putting yourself at such risk of injury. And players know this, you're not going out there not 100%. That's how players get hurt. They know it. So absolutely, everybody's playing hard. Just know that. Keep that in mind when you're making your picks.
And a good example here, I had the Cardinals and I lost. The Cardinals had everything to play for in that game, and they came out so flat. I couldn't believe it. It's like they didn't want to make the playoffs. So that you're right. This narrative, it doesn't always hold true. The game I'm staying away from this week is the games where both teams are eliminated. I don't want to watch those games. I don't want to bet those games. I understand what we're talking about here where, hey, just because one team's playing a team that has some playoff life and the other one doesn't. All right, but then what do you do when both teams are eliminated? I have the answer. You turn the channel. Do not watch those games. They're totally unwatchable. I don't care. I don't want to bet any of those games.
Yeah, so I'll pull one from there that I really look at as being worse than the rest, and that's the Jets versus Patriots. I have no idea anymore who the New York Jets are. Are they a decent team who beats the Rams, beats the Browns, or are they what we saw the first 12 13 games of the season, right? I don't know right now. And who's New England? Like, is New England still a decent team? Is Cam Newton still a decent quarterback right now? He's struggling a ton. It seems like right now we're waiting on that Cam Newton breakout game. Like he is a talented quarterback still. And I don't know which one we'll get. I'm having a lot of trouble with this game. This is the one I'm absolutely staying away from. And if you're into, by the way, I know a lot of people like to, fade the public, or stay away from the heavy public games. The public bet of the week right now, and what I mean by this is it's the most lopsided game in terms of money. So basically, which team has the highest percentage of ATS, and ATS is just against the spread. So which team has the highest percentage of ATS money this week? We're looking at the Saints, who come in 93% of the money that has been bet on this game so far is on the New Orleans Saints -6.5, and they're in Carolina. And again, this is another one of those games where, yeah, sure, the Saints have something to play for. They're battling right now with Seattle for that 2 seed. There's still a chance of getting the 1 seed as well. So I get it. They have something to play for. Carolina doesn't necessarily have anything to play for, draft position basically. But as we just said, the public right now, very clearly, I think they're falling into a bit of a trap here with that big of a split right now on the Saints. That's wild to me.
Yeah. And for anybody that's new to betting, you always want to fade the public. I mean, there is always going to be some value there. So look out for that. Well, hopefully we'll grab one of those a week. That's a good one, Matt. Let's do the pick of the week. Yep. Before we get to the primetime game, mine is not the primetime game. I am going with 2 teams that really burned me last week. We have the Rams and we have the Cardinals. Great divisional game here. I think this will be hard fought. The Rams are at home, and I'm my lines I'm showing they're getting 1 point. Who cares really about that 1 point? It's pretty much a money line pick 'em game. I like the Rams. I'm going with the team that has, they've reached that mountaintop. They've failed. They know what it's like to play these tough games. They've got a great defense. I hope Jared Goff is all right. I know I'm not sure what to think about here. I could flip-flop on this when a little bit of information comes out closer to Sunday.
He is supposed to sit right now, Frank. He's I know they've said he hopes to play.
Yeah, that's what I was seeing too.
There's still that hope. He says there's a chance, but I mean, the guy just had surgery, I believe, last night on his thumb.
It's a strange decision to have surgery on that. I'm no doctor, but what?
Me neither.
You're going to have surgery before the biggest game of the year. I mean, that's a pretty crazy thing to do. It's a must-win game, and they're not in the playoffs yet.
No, they could miss if they lose to Arizona and Chicago wins, the Rams are out.
Really strange. I may flip-flop on that. Who's the backup there?
John Wofford.
John Wofford. I could be out on this. My primetime pick might change. Look out for my social media. I will flip it. If I don't get a good feeling about Wofford, and I don't know anything about him, I could flip that. But right now,
XFL star. There's not a ton of notes on him. But with that one, we might also see Chris Streveler at quarterback for the Cardinals. Now Kyler did practice today, so it's looking
there we go
more likely than not that Kyler Murray suits up in this one. But it's I don't know what to think of the Jared Goff situation. But if he does play, I'm with you. I think the Rams are the pick there.
My backup pick, I'm going with the Ravens and the Cowboys. So I may cancel that one, but I like it. I want Goff to be out there. I just can't imagine they'd have him get the surgery and not play. It doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, you know what? It was from what I've been hearing, reading. It's a matter of wanting to ensure that if they do get in, that Goff is ready. Because it was a matter of if he doesn't have this surgery now and he plays in this game, could it get worse? There's all sorts of things there. But so before I lay my pick of the week here, one other thing I just wanted to introduce, upset pick of the week, and this comes from my SBD formula. We've been nailing upsets all season. We went 2-2, I believe, on upset picks with this formula. Week 16, week 17, the upset pick that it is most confident in is the 49ers over the Seahawks. And it's saying they win. They don't just squeak out a win here. My formula says they win by 13.2 points. So
Jeez.
this is a, that's a significant margin of victory here. I get it. San Francisco's a little stronger in the trenches. So that's my formula's upset of the week. My pick of the week, you've already mentioned it, Frank. I'm with you on the Ravens right now. I think this is a slam dunk. As we said last week, they beat bad teams. That's what they've done all season, and I love them to
For
do it again.
years.
Yeah, they get it done when they need to, and I'm all over them again. I think they hammer the Bengals. I'm betting this up to 2 touchdowns again. And yeah, like I said, act quickly, because it's at some books it's already 13. I've got it at 11.5, but I still bet it at 13.
All right, let's do the primetime game. Washington at Philadelphia. I'm seeing Philadelphia +2. You got the same number over there?
Yeah.
I don't have a good feeling about this game.
You're seeing Philadelphia +2. Sorry.
Yes, that's what I see.
Give me 1 second, because I think so. Books are a little like there's not a ton of consensus on this one. There are some books right now that have this Philadelphia -1.5. I see Philadelphia -1. I've also seen Philadelphia -2 at some places. This line is all over the place. So I mean, this is a great one. If depending which side you're on, like you can get a good line here. So
let me just check again, make sure I didn't read that wrong.
No, that's all right. Good. Yeah.
You got 1.5 now. So this is it. This is the primetime game. Washington at Philadelphia. Who knows what line you get? Let's just talk about who's going to win this game and what's at stake. Can you tell the
ultimately
people?
That's what the spread's saying here, right? It's ultimately near a pick 'em, anyways, right?
So what's at stake for this game?
What's at stake? Well, we've got the division. The division is at stake here. So Washington needs a win. If Washington wins this game, they win the division. If they lose, one of Dallas or the Giants will win the division. Whoever wins that game earlier. So I do love that they flexed this game, by the way. I mean, I know, these aren't the two sexiest teams in the league right now, but I like that they've set us up with, at least something exciting in the late game. Two teams who, I mean, hey, Jalen Hurts is playing for the starting job next year, right? He's coming off a bit of a rough performance. Hey, he started off pretty great, so he was able to cool off a little bit, but a lot on the line for Washington, the division. For Philadelphia, it's basically people playing for jobs, as we've it's kind of been the theme of the week right now. Right now, too, by the way, 61% of the money right now is on Washington. And if you're looking to bet the over-under, 76% is on the over. Total right now set at 43.5. Frank, in this one, for me, it all depends on whether Alex Smith is under center. If Alex Smith is under center for Washington, and again, if you missed the news, it's not going to be Dwayne Haskins. We know that for sure. He's been released by the team. Can I even just step back for 1 second and discuss that we had, like, basically, I mean, the whole post week, what was that, week 15 stripper thing? I mean, what are you doing? You first of all, you lost the game. Like, what do you? I don't know. Hey, I don't know how some people cope with loss. I'm not here to say that's that he's wrong for this. To each their own. But what are you doing, man? Like, you are putting yourself in unprecedented territory as a first round draft pick to already be just outright released by the team. And it was clear they wanted to basically release him right after that happened, but they knew how bad they needed that week 16 game, and they didn't trust Heineke, to go in there and get it done. The moment they saw him go in and perform a little better than Haskins was, they cut ties real quick. So that's this whole situation is just wild to me. So for me, this game is all about Alex Smith. Is he under center or no? If he is, I'm taking Washington. If he's not, I'm taking Philadelphia. It just hinges on that for me.
I have a total gut pick here.
Yeah.
Your reason is very rational. I just have a gut feeling that Philadelphia is going to win this game at home. I think Jalen Hurts is gritty. He's a competitor. We've seen some flashes out of him. He hasn't been great, but he's been good enough. I
Yeah.
don't know why. I just have a gut feeling Philadelphia's going to win this game. I like that they're at home. Uh, they have more playoff experience. I don't know. I don't have a great read, but that's my gut. So what does the formula say?
Well, I was just about to say, hey, you're on the side of my formula. Formula says Philadelphia wins this 27.8 to 10.3. So they've got a 17 and a half point victory for Philadelphia. They've got a blowout for Philadelphia. And again, a lot of this, formula might change a little bit based off that Alex Smith decision, but I don't think it's, Alex Smith isn't 17 points. So, I mean, this formula is going to, regardless of who's under center, formula is going to have Philadelphia winning this game. To me, the unit I trust the most in this game is the Washington defense. I think they are, not just in this game, they've been very good just in general this year, right? That front four is scary. Just their players in the box are scary. So it's just, can they get adequate play out of the quarterback? Because that's all this Washington team needs is just, and Alex Smith is so perfect for the job, right? I mean, he's just that super safe, check it down, will not turn it over type thing. He's not going to lose you the game. He's a perfect quarterback here. So right now I'm leaning Washington because I think Alex Smith plays. If that changes, I will be with you on Philadelphia.
I want to point this out too. Everyone that sees this game and, oh my God, a team with a losing record won the division. We need to blow the divisions up. We need to change this. Maybe we need to make it like the NBA where the divisions don't matter at all. Calm down.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath. The last time this happened, Seattle went 7-9, I believe, hosted a playoff game and actually won the playoff game.
They beat the Saints.
This is the NFL. Anyone can beat anyone. Teams peak at different times. I'm definitely not suggesting either of these teams playing in the game are peaking, but
I'm not betting either one to win the Super Bowl yet.
Yeah, right. But don't be surprised when they're actually competitive in the playoff game because these are professional teams we're talking about here. And the divisions are great in the NFL. By far, the league with the best divisions. Just calm down, take a deep breath. Won't happen again for another 10 years. Who knows, actually, with the NFC East, it's pretty bad. But I wouldn't expect it to. That's pretty much all we got today. Matt, you got anything else?
No, I think I'm good. I want to get this out to these people so they can quickly get Baltimore minus 11.5, maybe minus 13 before it keeps getting bet up.
Yeah, fire that up. Get the Wi-Fi right. Get going. Get those thumbs warmed up. Everybody, I want to remind you, SBD play. We talked about it last week. We're going to keep talking about it every week. It's the easiest bet in the book. There is no risk. You sign up. You got to be over 18 in North America. I believe it's Canada and the U.S. Correct me if I'm wrong.
U.S. winner only.
U.S. winner only.
Yeah. We're working on getting up there, up north, but right now just U.S. winners. But yeah, if you're not on here, guys, I don't know what you're doing. It's free money, free shot at winning $500 a week, and we're building up to something big here for the Super Bowl. We'll talk more about that a little closer to it, but you want to be on there right now.
Definitely some tasty prizes. SBD Play. There's an app. There's a website. Hop on that. We will see you guys next Wednesday, and let's win some money.
Let's win some money. I love it.
See ya.